Okay, let's just dive right in.
Let's do it.
Usually, when we sit down to do this, we are looking at a specific slice of the world. We're looking at, say, the latest breakthrough in AI, or we're doing a deep dive into the history of the spice trade, or maybe a productivity hack for the modern workplace.
Right. Manageable topics?
We like those topics. They're manageable.
They fit in a box.
Exactly. They fit in the box. But today, I've been looking at the notes for this deep dive for about 3 days now, and I have to admit, the scope of this is just, it's massive.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit in the box. It barely fits in the room.
It is ambitious. I think that's probably the only word for it.
We're essentially looking at the source code of reality, or at least what humanity has been trying to figure out about that source code for the last, 5,000 years.
Give or take a millennium, yeah.
And the reason we are doing this, the reason we aren't just sort of spinning our wheels philosophizing, is because of this fascinating project by a guy named Hughes. And I think the context here is super important because Hughes isn't a theologian. He isn't a guru sitting on a mountaintop in a loincloth. Who is he?
He's a behavior expert. He deals in data. He deals in patterns, specifically human behavioral patterns. And that's what makes this whole analysis so distinctive. He didn't approach these texts looking for salvation. He approached them like a data set.
Like a spreadsheet.
Exactly. He approached them like a spreadsheet.
That's the hook for me. He spent decades obsessively collecting over 190 sacred texts. And we aren't just talking the greatest hits, like the Bible or the Quran.
Oh, no, it's a comprehensive global data set. He's got the Upanishads from India, the Buddhist sutras, the Mayan creation myths like the Popol Vuh,
right.
Sumerian clay tablets from ancient Mesopotamia, Hermetic texts from Egypt, indigenous oral traditions from North America. I mean, it's a data set that spans the entire globe and thousands of years of human history.
And his whole method was basically a comparative analysis. He treated them like reports from the field. And when you strip away the cultural costumes, the specific rituals, the names of the deities, the geography, all that stuff, he found something kind of unsettling.
Unsettling is the right word, because you expect differences, right?
Of course.
You expect a text written in a desert in 500 BC to be fundamentally different from a text written in a rainforest in 1000 AD. They had no way to communicate, no email, no trade routes between them, no
Zoom calls.
No Zoom calls, and yet the data shows they are whispering the exact same message.
Not just similar themes, like not just be nice to people.
No, not at all. The exact same structural truths, precision-level agreement on the nature of reality.
Okay, so that is our mission today. We're going to walk through what Hughes identifies as the 5 universal truths that show up in all of these texts. And then we're going to look at the roadmap they supposedly leave for us to actually navigate life. But before we get into the heavy stuff, we need to set the ground rules.
Absolutely. And this is the disclaimer Hughes puts right up front, and I think we need to echo it. We aren't here to preach. I'm not here to convert you, the listener, to any specific religion. This is not about dogma.
Yeah.
It's about pattern recognition. Whether you are deeply religious, spiritual, or a hardcore materialist atheist who thinks this is all just chemistry, the data is the data. We are just looking at the consensus of human wisdom.
So let's unpack the first big concept before we even get to the list, because there is a barrier to understanding this stuff, and that's language itself. It's tricky. Hughes uses a metaphor about a sunrise that I found really helpful in framing why these texts can seem so confusing.
It's the perfect way to frame the problem of language. We think language describes reality, but it really doesn't. It describes our interaction with reality. Imagine you were standing in front of the most massive, breathtaking sunrise you have ever seen.
Okay.
It's overwhelming. It's infinite light, colors you can't even name. You are just, weeping at the beauty of it.
Okay, I'm there. It's hilarious.
Now, imagine you have to go back to your village and explain that sunrise to someone who has lived in a cave their whole life. They have never seen the sun. And the only language you have available to you, the only vocabulary your culture has developed, was designed for trading chickens.
Trading chickens.
Literally. Our vocabulary was built for survival. It was built for pass the salt, watch out for that tiger, how much for the goat, where is the water?
Right, practical stuff.
It evolved to handle finite physical objects. It was not built to describe infinity or quantum non-duality or the nature of consciousness.
So it's the hardware limitation. We are trying to run this incredible high-definition software on a calculator.
Exactly. Hughes calls it the net with holes theory. Language is a net. We throw it at reality to try and catch the truth. But if the truth is water fluid, infinite changing and the net has big holes, you're going to come up empty every time.
You might catch a few scales, but you miss the water.
You miss the water.
So this explains why religious texts can seem so contradictory or, weirdly specific. When one text says, God is a father, and another says the universe is a void, they aren't necessarily disagreeing on the reality.
Right. They are just using different flawed metaphors, different chicken trading words to point at the same indescribable light. If you get stuck on the metaphor, is it a father, is it a void, you completely miss the point.
You're arguing about the finger.
You have to look at what the finger is pointing to, not the finger itself. The contradictions are just different cultures struggling with the same impossible translation task.
Okay. So with that in mind, that we are dealing with imperfect language trying to describe a massive reality, let's get into the data. Let's look at what these 190 texts actually agree on. Truth number 1.
This is the foundation. If you don't get this one, the rest of the list makes no sense at all. The texts call it the illusion of separation.
Or, to put it bluntly, you are not separate.
Correct. You are not a separate entity.
Now, I have to push back immediately because I feel pretty separate. I'm sitting in this chair. You're over there. The listener is.
Yeah.
Wherever they are, maybe driving a car or washing dishes, I have my own bank account, my own social security number, my own anxieties. It feels very real. It feels solid.
It feels incredibly real, and the texts, they acknowledge that. They don't say the experience of separation isn't happening. They say it's a hallucination. It's a sensory error.
A glitch in the interface.
A glitch in the interface. That's a great way to put it.
Okay, walk me through the evidence.
Yeah.
What do the texts actually say to back this up? Because that's a huge claim.
It is. So let's look at the Upanishads from India. These are some of the oldest philosophical texts in the world. They have a phrase that is absolutely central to their entire philosophy. Tattivam asi.
Kativam asi.
It translates to you are that. Now, pay close attention to the grammar here. It doesn't say you are connected to that.
Right.
It doesn't say you are ruled by that or you are loved by that. It says you are that.
Meaning the divine, the universe, the source.
Whatever name you want to give it. The text is claiming that your fundamental identity isn't John or Sarah or the host of a deep dive. Those are just costumes. Your fundamental identity is the divine itself playing a role.
You are the universe in a mask.
You are the universe in a human costume, yeah.
And this isn't just an Eastern thing, right? Because I think a lot of people will hear that and assume this is just yoga philosophy or something.
No, and that's the surprise in the data. You see it in the Middle East with the Sufi mystics. Rumi, the great poet, has this beautiful line where he says, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop.
That's a holographic idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
The part contains the whole.
It's totally holographic, and you even see it in Christianity, although it often gets glossed over in the standard Sunday school curriculum. There is that verse, the kingdom of God is within you. Not up in the sky, not in a temple, not in the afterlife. Right here, right now, within. It implies that the barrier between the human and the divine is porous, if not completely non-existent.
Even the Mayans had this idea. You mentioned the Popol Vuh.
The Popol Vuh, it's a stunning text. They speak of the heart of sky, heart of earth. They describe the universe not as a collection of dead rocks and gas, but as a single living organism. A single being.
Okay.
And if the universe is one body, then you aren't just a resident of the universe. You are a cell in the body.
You can't be separate from it.
You can't. A liver cell isn't separate from the body. It is the body functioning as a liver.
So if we are all one thing, why do we feel so distinct? Why is the illusion so convincing? Hughes uses an analogy about the ocean and the wave.
Yeah.
I think this is probably the most helpful visualization for our listener to really grasp this.
It's the classic non-dual metaphor, and Hughes leans on it heavily because it just works so well. Imagine you are standing on a beach. You see a wave rise up. It has a shape. It has a height. It's moving fast. It looks like a distinct object. You can point at it and say, that is a wave. You can name it. That's a big one. That's a small one.
It has a lifespan, too. It's born, it travels, and then it crashes on the shore.
Right. It has a beginning, middle, and end. But ask yourself, at what specific moment did that water stop being the ocean and start being a wave?
I mean, you can't answer that. It never did. It's always water.
Precisely. The wave is not a thing. The wave is an activity of the ocean. It is the ocean waving.
The ocean waving. That's a great way to put it. I like that.
Now apply that to us. You are the universe peopling. You look separate. You have a name. You have a history. You have a social security number. But at no point, not for a single microsecond, does the substance of what you are separate from the whole.
So when the wave crashes, when we die.
The wave doesn't die. Water cannot die. It just returns to the formless state. It goes back to being the stillness of the ocean.
That is a profound shift in perspective.
Mhm.
But it's also, I'll be honest, it's a little scary. Because I like being a wave. I want to keep my shape. I want to be me.
And that is exactly where the suffering comes from. The texts say that the root of almost all human pain, fear of death, greed, jealousy, loneliness, is the wave desperately trying to protect itself.
We're terrified of crashing.
Terrified. We are jealous of the bigger waves. We are trying to build little walls to keep our water safe.
Which is impossible. You can't wall off water in the middle of the ocean.
Exactly. But if you know you are the ocean,
Then the crash isn't death, it's just a change of form. And the other wave isn't a competitor, it's just you in a different spot.
it reframes the entire game. It moves you from me versus the world, which is a fight you will always, always lose to, the universe experiencing itself through me.
It changes everything. I mean, if you really integrate that truth, not just intellectually, but in your gut, then conflict becomes absurd. It's like your left hand fighting your right hand. Why would you ever do that?
You wouldn't. And that leads us perfectly into truth number 2. Because if we accept that separation is an illusion, then there are really only 2 ways to operate within this reality.
2 operating systems. Hughes simplifies it down to a binary: fear and love.
2 fundamental frequencies. And Hughes argues you are always broadcasting one or the other. You can't broadcast both at the same time.
Now, we have to pause on the word love. Because in 2024, love means a heart emoji, it means romance, it means a Hallmark movie where the couple kisses in the snow.
Correct. And that is absolutely not what these ancient texts are talking about. When the Upanishads or the Bible or the Tao Te Ching talk about love, they aren't talking about an emotion you feel when you have a crush. They are talking about a structural frequency. They are talking about alignment.
Alignment with what?
Alignment with truth number 1. Love is the state of recognizing the connection. It is the operating system of oneness. When you look at someone and you don't judge them, you don't fear them, but you recognize them as yourself in a different costume, that is love in the ancient sense.
So love is the logic of the ocean.
Yeah.
And fear.
Fear is the operating system of the wave. Fear is the felt experience of separation. It's the belief that you are isolated, vulnerable, and finite.
Hughes mentions that fear is biologically incompatible with who we truly are. It's a strong phrase.
Well, think about how fear feels physically. It tightens, it constricts, it inflames. Your shoulders go up to your ears, your stomach gets in a knot.
Right. Stress kills us.
Stress literally kills us. We know this medically. The texts would say it's because we are running a program that contradicts our fundamental hardware. We are infinite beings pretending to be finite. That friction creates heat. That heat is suffering.
And the source material points out that this binary fear versus love is everywhere in the texts. It's not subtle.
It's the dominant theme. It's the central choice. Look at the Bible. Do you know what the most repeated command is in the entire book? It's not don't steal or don't kill.
I've heard this. It's fear not.
Fear not. It appears hundreds of times. And then it gives the antidote. Perfect love casts out fear.
Casts out. That's such an active phrase. Like an exorcism.
Or like physics. Light and darkness cannot occupy the same space. If you walk into a dark room and turn on a light, the darkness doesn't fight back. It doesn't argue. It just vanishes. The texts say that if you are in a state of perfect love, which just means total recognition of unity fear, has no place to grip. You can't fear a stranger if you know they are just another part of you.
The Buddha said something similar, right? About hatred.
By love alone is hatred healed. Hatred is just a byproduct of fear. You hate what threatens you, what threatens your little wave. If you don't feel threatened because you know you're the ocean hatred evaporates. It has no fuel.
And the Bhagavad Gita makes this distinction between ignorance and devotion. Ignorance leads to suffering.
Yes, and ignorance in the Gita isn't about being stupid, it's about forgetting. It's the amnesia of separation. You've forgotten you're the ocean, and that forgetting leads directly to fear. Devotion is the act of remembrance.
I really like the Rumi quote mentioned in this section. Your job isn't to seek love, but to find the barriers you built against it.
That is the key actionable takeaway here. That's the instruction manual. We tend to think we need to go out and find love or earn peace or build happiness.
Like it's a commodity we have to acquire.
Yeah.
If I get the promotion, I'll finally be happy. If I find the perfect partner, then I'll find love.
Right. But the texts imply that love is your default factory setting. It's what you are made of. The only reason you aren't feeling it right now is because you have built walls.
Walls of fear.
Walls of judgment. Walls of, I need to protect my image. Walls of, I need to be right. The spiritual path isn't about adding anything to yourself. It's not about becoming more spiritual. It's about demolition. It's about tearing down the barriers so the light that's already there can shine out.
So every time we regret something, every time we sabotage ourselves, every time we lash out at a partner, that's just the fear operating system running its program.
It's the illusion of separation manifesting as behavior. We chase validation, we chase money, we chase control, all because we are terrified of being small, separate waves that are going to disappear.
That sounds incredibly peaceful, but also really hard to practice. Because my brain is constantly telling me I need to worry, I need to stress about my job, I need to stress about the news, I need to replay that awkward conversation I had in 2014.
And that brings us to truth number 3. Because we have to understand the mechanism. Why does our brain do that? Why are we wired to replay that awkward conversation?
Truth number 3. The mind is a projector, not a camera.
This is where the ancient texts align with modern neuroscience and quantum physics in a way that is kind of spooky.
Okay, explain the metaphor. We think we are cameras.
We assume that our eyes are just lenses. We walk around, we see the world, and we believe we record it objectively. We think that person was rude or this situation is a disaster, and we believe that is a fact. We think we are reporting the news.
But the texts say,
The texts say you are generating your reality. You aren't recording it. You are projecting it onto the world.
the Dhammapada, what you think you become.
The Hermetic texts. The all is mind. And even quantum physics touches on this with the observer effect. The fact that the act of observation changes the behavior of matter. The universe seems to respond to how we look at it.
So how does the projector work in daily life? Give me a concrete example.
Okay, think of your mind as an old-school movie projector. The light bulb inside is your consciousness, pure awareness. The screen is the world around you. But in between that light and the screen, there is a film reel.
And what's on the film reel?
Your past, your trauma, your beliefs, your fears, your expectations, everything you've ever learned or suffered, it's your personal history.
So if I have a film reel that says, people are untrustworthy and will always let me down,
Then you will project that onto everyone you meet. If someone is quiet at dinner, your projector shows the movie, they're plotting against me. If someone bumps into you on the subway, the movie is that was aggressive and disrespectful. You are projecting a horror movie onto a neutral screen.
but if I have a different film reel, maybe one that says, the world is generally kind and people are doing their best.
Then that same quiet person at dinner, you think, oh, they must be tired. I should check on them. Same event. 2 completely different realities generated by the mind.
This explains why 2 people can go to the same party or be in the same meeting and come out with totally different stories about what happened.
We don't see the world as it is. We see it as we are. That's the filter. The film reel is the filter.
And this connects back to suffering, right? Because if the mind is a projector,
Then suffering is an inside job. And that is the hard pill for most of us to swallow. We want to blame the traffic. We want to blame the economy. We want to blame our ex-partner for our misery. But the texts all say, check the film reel.
if the projector is running a horror movie, it's because we are feeding it the film.
Exactly. The world is just a screen. It reflects what you project. This is why almost every single tradition recommends stillness, silence, meditation. They aren't just trying to get you to relax or lower your blood pressure, though that's a nice side effect.
They are trying to stop the projector.
They are trying to create a gap in the film. When you sit in silence, you stop projecting your past fears and old stories onto your present moment. You clean the lens, and suddenly for a moment, you can see what is actually there rather than what you fear is there.
Which is usually a lot less scary than the movie we were running in our heads.
Usually, yes. Reality is just what is. The mind adds the should be and the what if, and that's what creates all the suffering.
Okay, so let's recap where we are. We aren't separate, we are the ocean. Fear is a glitch in the system. Our mind projects reality based on that fear. So what is standing in our way? If this is true, why can't we just get it? Why is it so hard to just be the ocean?
Now we meet the villain of the story, the antagonist. Truth number 4. The ego is the enemy.
Enemy is a strong word. It sounds like a war movie.
It is a war, in a sense. The texts are pretty brutal about this. They identify the ego, the small self, the story of me, as the primary barrier to truth.
Let's define ego, because people think it just means being arrogant or thinking you're better than everyone.
Right. And that's part of it, but it's much bigger than that. It's not about thinking you're great. A person with cripplingly low self-esteem has just as big of an ego as a narcissist. It's deeper. Hughes calls the ego a protective suit.
I like that visual. A suit of armor.
Exactly. Imagine a child. They are born open, connected, vulnerable. Then life happens. They get yelled at by a parent. They get teased on the playground. They experience pain, rejection, fear. So to survive, they start stitching together a suit.
A suit made of stories.
A suit made of stories. I am smart. I am tough. I am the victim. I am the funny one. I'm not good enough. It's a construct, an identity we build to navigate the world safely.
So the ego isn't inherently evil. It started as a survival tool.
It's a necessary developmental stage. You need a healthy ego to get through middle school. You need it to apply for a job. The problem isn't that we have a suit. The problem is that we never take it off.
We confuse the suit for our skin.
We think we are the story. We forget we're the one inside the armor. And the ego, because it is fake, because it's constructed, is terrified of death. It needs constant maintenance. Hughes points out that the ego craves three things to survive: hierarchy, conflict, and recognition.
Okay, let's break those down. Hierarchy.
The ego needs to be better than, or paradoxically worse than. It just needs to compare. I'm richer than him. I'm more spiritual than her. I'm the most unfortunate person here. As long as it is comparing, it feels separate and real.
Okay, and conflict.
The ego loves a fight. It loves drama. Why? Because a fight defines a boundary. If I am fighting you, then I am here and you are there. Conflict solidifies the illusion of separation.
Peace is dangerous to the ego.
Peace is terrifying to the ego, because in peace, boundaries dissolve.
That explains so much of the internet. It explains Twitter.
It is pure ego fuel, an engine for conflict and comparison. And the third one, recognition. Look at me. Validate me, like my photo. The ego is terrified of being invisible because if it's not seen, it suspects it doesn't exist.
Which it doesn't. Not really.
Exactly. That's the cosmic joke. The ego is a hallucination fighting desperately for its own survival. It is a ripple screaming, "I am important," while the vast ocean is right there.
The texts have some sharp warnings about this. Jesus said, "Unless a man dies to himself, he cannot live."
He wasn't talking about physical suicide. He was talking about the death of the suit, the death of the mask. You have to let the character you've been playing die so the real you can live.
And Plato said, "All sins come from excess self-love," which I assume means love of the small self, the ego.
Correct. Attachment to the avatar you created.
And the Tao Te Ching warns, "He who defines himself cannot know who he truly is."
Because definitions are limits, they are cages. If you define yourself as the smart guy, what happens when you make a mistake? Your entire reality breaks. The ego is fragile because it is rigid.
Hughes says, "The armor is the wound." That really stuck with me. We think the ego protects us, but actually it keeps us trapped in our own fear.
It prevents connection. It's impossible to hug someone while wearing a full suit of armor. You cannot experience the reality of the ocean if you are terrified of losing your shape as a wave. Liberation in all these traditions isn't about becoming a better person. It's not about polishing the armor. It's about taking it off.
Which brings us to the final truth, the synthesis of it all. Truth number 5.
Everything is connected.
This seems like it circles back to the first truth. We are not separate, but it feels broader. It's the application of it, maybe.
It is the so what of the first truth. If we are not separate, then the universe is a single interconnected system. What happens in one part of the system affects all the other parts?
The Hermetic principle.
Oh.
As above, so below.
The Lakota saying, mitakuye oyasin, which means we are all relatives. And they don't just mean humans. They mean the rocks, the trees, the animals, the stars. It's not just a nice sentiment. It's a statement of biological and energetic fact from their perspective.
And again, modern physics is crashing the party here with quantum entanglement.
The spooky action at a distance, as Einstein called it. The idea that particles, once connected, remain connected across vast distances. If you affect one, you affect the other instantly. There is no space between them in a functional sense. They are part of one system.
Hughes uses the cosmic brain metaphor here.
Which is a powerful one. Imagine you are a single neuron. You feel like an individual, you fire, you rest, you have your own little life. But you are part of a massive, complex brain. Your firing affects the whole network, and the state of the network absolutely affects you.
So every action, every emotion, every intention.
It ripples, it vibrates through the whole system because everything is connected. You cannot harm another without harming yourself. And you cannot heal yourself without contributing to the healing of the whole.
It reframes the concept of selfishness. If I am part of the whole, then taking care of myself is taking care of the whole. And taking care of my neighbor is literally taking care of myself.
Exactly. The distinction between selfish and selfless dissolves. It's all just the self. with a capital S.
So life isn't happening to me.
No, life is happening through you and as you. You are the aperture through which the universe is experiencing this specific moment.
That's big. That's a lot to take in.
It's massive, and it leads to the obvious and maybe painful question. If this is the truth, if we are this cosmic, connected, powerful ocean, why are we all so miserable?
Yeah. Why is the world a dumpster fire?
That is the million-dollar question.
If we have known this stuff for thousands of years, why are we dealing with war, greed, anxiety epidemics, and environmental collapse? How do we get so lost?
This is what Hughes calls the fall, and he doesn't mean it in the Adam and Eve Garden of Eden sense. He means it historically.
How did we fall?
It wasn't a conspiracy. It was a slow drift, a gradual forgetting. It started with survival. Go back to early humans. You needed to survive harsh winters. You needed to protect borders. You needed us versus them thinking to keep the food stocks safe from the neighboring tribe.
So fear was useful. It was a tool.
Fear was a very useful tool. It kept us alive. But then, as civilization grew, fear shifted from a tool to a habit. And finally, fear became a culture. We built our entire civilizations on the lie of separation.
Economies built on lack and competition. Identities built on comparison and status.
We developed what Hughes calls psychological malware. And the texts warned us this would happen. The Tao Te Ching, the Bible, the Quran, they all warn that wealth and power often lead to arrogance and corruption because they reinforce the ego.
It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God.
Exactly. They weren't saying money is inherently evil. They were saying that the accumulation of resources tends to thicken the ego. It reinforces the illusion that I am separate and I am safe behind my wall of gold. It disconnects you from the felt sense of being the ocean.
And now, in the 21st century, we have the modern distraction machine.
This is the accelerant. This is pouring gasoline on the fire. We have systematically replaced silence, which is the only place you can find the truth, with constant noise. We have replaced meaning with dopamine hits.
It's true. We stopped asking the big questions like, who am I? And we started asking, who do they think I am on social media?
We are living in a hall of mirrors. Social media is an ego amplification engine. Algorithms are designed to weaponize our attention. News cycles feed on our cortisol, on our outrage. We are constantly in a state of low-grade fight or flight.
Which locks us into the fear operating system.
You cannot feel connection when you are in survival mode. It's neurologically impossible, and our technology, for the most part, is designed to keep us in survival mode.
Hughes says high technology, low spiritual connection.
We are the most connected generation in history, technically speaking. We can text anyone on Earth in seconds. But spiritually, psychologically, we are lonely, we are anxious, we are depressed, the numbers don't lie.
Because we are trying to live in a fake world.
We are trying to live as separate waves, fighting other waves for a little more water while the ocean is right there holding us the whole time. We are starving to death while holding a sandwich.
So how do we eat the sandwich? How do we wake up? Because the texts didn't just diagnose the problem, they gave a roadmap, a prescription.
They did. And Hughes breaks it down into clear steps. And interestingly, he notes that this process of awakening often begins when the Jenga tower collapses.
When the ego fails.
When the suffering becomes unbearable. When the divorce happens, or the bankruptcy, or the burnout. When the strategy of the ego finally hits a wall and breaks down. That is when people start looking for the truth, for something real.
So step one is truth.
Facing reality. Not faith, truth. The Bible says the truth will set you free. It starts with radical honesty about who you are and, more importantly, who you are not. I am not this job. I am not this image. I am terrified.
You have to admit the wound before you can heal it.
Step 2, presence. You have to exit the time machine. Depression is usually living in the past, all the regrets and what-ifs. Anxiety is usually living in the future, all the fears and scenarios. Reality, the only place where you actually exist, is right now. The texts are unanimous on this. You have to be here.
Step 3, compassion and service. And I like the spin on this. It's not about being a goody two-shoes to earn points with God.
No, not at all. If we are all one, then compassion is just logical. It's me taking care of me. If my left hand is hurt, my right hand helps it. It doesn't ask for credit. It doesn't write a Facebook post about what a nice hand it is. It just helps because it's part of the same body. That is true compassion. It comes from the recognition of unity.
Step 4, stillness and self-knowledge.
Know thyself. The famous inscription at Delphi. You have to shut off the noise. You have to turn off the projector to see the screen clearly. This is why meditation isn't a hobby in these traditions. It's hygiene. It's mental hygiene. You wouldn't go a month without brushing your teeth. You shouldn't go a day without quieting your mind.
Step 5. Suffering into wisdom. This is the reframing of pain.
This is the hardest one for us. We spend our entire lives running from pain. But the roadmap says, turn around and face it. Suffering is not a punishment from an angry God. It's a catalyst. It cracks the shell of the ego. It's the fire that burns away everything that isn't real.
As the Source says, suffering is the path, in the sense that it burns away everything that isn't you.
It forces you to let go. And when you let go of the fake stuff, you fall into what's real. You fall into the ocean.
And finally, step 6, remembrance.
This is the destination, but it's not a new place. It's a return. It's remembering who you were before the world told you who to be.
Hughes compares it to setting down a heavy backpack you didn't realize you were carrying your whole life.
Imagine the relief, just for a second. You have been carrying the weight of being special, of being right, of defending your image, of fearing death. It's exhausting. And suddenly, you just set it down. You remember that you are the ocean. You don't have to fight anymore.
And you feel lighter.
You feel like you can finally breathe. You realize you never had to carry it in the first place.
It feels like coming home.
That is the consistent description across all these 190 texts. It's a return. It's a remembering.
So what does this all mean for the person listening right now? We've covered a lot of ground. Separation is a lie. Fear is an illusion. The mind projects. Ego blocks. Connection is real. Does this mean I should quit my job and move to a cave?
No, not at all. And that's the beauty of it. The world doesn't necessarily change when you wake up. The traffic is still there. The bills are still there. Your boss might still be annoying, but your relationship to it changes completely.
Fear loses its authority.
Exactly. The ego loses its death grip on you. You can still play the game of life. You can still have a career, have relationships, have goals, but you know it's a game. You know you are the ocean playing as a wave. And that brings a lightness, a sense of play to everything.
It takes the pressure off.
Immense pressure. You don't have to prove your existence anymore. You already are. You don't have to earn your worth. You are the worth of the entire universe.
That is a fascinating place to land. It's incredible to think that all these ancient voices from every corner of the planet were trying to tell us this one thing. We just have to listen.
The signal has always been there. We just need to tune out the noise long enough to hear it.
So, here is a question for you to mull over as you go about your day. If the you that you think you are is just a story built to survive fear, who is the one listening to this voice right now?
That's the question. Who is the witness?
Find that witness. Find the ocean. Thanks for exploring this with us.